This is the story about one of Amsterdam's oldest criminals. As a young boy, he was a grade A student. He could opt for a normal job and have a decent monthly wage to live from, but that was not enough for him. He wanted fast money. Money he had to take great risks for, which would ultimately cost him greatly. From selling a stolen Rembrandt painting to escaping a Moroccan jail, this is the story of Henk Orlando Rommy, also known as the Black Cobra. Stay with me to the end. This story might have one of the most surprising outcomes I have ever written. Henk R. was born on the 4th of March 1951 in Paramaribo, Suriname. At the age of 3 years old, he moves to the Netherlands with his parents, 5 sisters and 3 brothers. After finishing his school, he moves to Switzerland to work at an airplane manufacturer, but that job did not make him enough. Henk wanted a different life for himself, a life full of opulence and decadence, the more the merrier. That lifestyle could only be funded with fast money. He moved back to the Netherlands, and in the mid-1970s, he started to use his skinny posture and flexibility to his advantage. Henk became one of the best burglars of Amsterdam. This is also where he earns the name the Black Cobra. He is as thin and flexible as a snake. No building was safe for him because he could always find a way to get in. At the end of the 70s, he made his first mistake. He is caught in the act, and the judge sentenced him to a 3.5-year jail sentence for selling a painting made by the world-famous Rembrandt. His jail sentence would not bring him on the right path, unfortunately. If anything, it introduced him to a whole other world, the world of hash. Selling hash would bring in a lot more money than burglaries ever could. Henk decided to join a Belgian group, and together they started bringing in large amounts of hash from Morocco to the Netherlands and Belgian ports. The margins are so high that they were starting to swim in cash. By paying off government officials and custom officers working in the ports, they were almost untouchable, until it went wrong in 1984. While visiting a supplier of his in Morocco, Henk R. got arrested. Instead of awaiting his trial, Henk did what he knew best: use his flexibility to his advantage. He managed to escape the jail via the roof and was a free man. But for how long? He went on to Tanga, where companions had a boat waiting for him. However, unfortunately for him, someone had other plans. A fellow criminal snitched and informed the Moroccan police about his plans and the location of the boat. It remains unclear who and why that person snitched on Henk. What was clear is that he would be sentenced to serve 18 months in a Moroccan prison, which is definitely quite different from a Dutch prison. But then something surprising happened. On the birthday of the King of Morocco, Hassan II, in 1986, he decided to free several prisoners from the harsh Moroccan jails. Luckily for Henk, he was one of them. Just like that, he was all of a sudden a free man and quickly moves back to the Netherlands. This jail sentence once again did not get Henk on the right path. Instead, he swore to himself to become one of the biggest players in the hash game. He just needed a different approach. In 1992, Morocco significantly ramped up their efforts in battling smuggling in their ports. This caused Henk and his organization to move to Pakistan instead. Business went well. Nonetheless, Henk found himself in some serious trouble. Henny Shamel, a fellow smuggler, still held Henk responsible for a shipment that got seized some time ago. Henny wanted to see his money and was tired of asking, while Henk was showing off his wealth to others. Henny started applying pressure on Henk and demanded his 1.7 million gulden immediately. Henk made a decision, a serious business decision. What is cheaper than paying someone 1.7 million gulden? Exactly. Have the same person you owe the money to whacked for just 150,000 gulden. And that is what Henk chose to do on the 9th of May 1993. Unfortunately for him, the shooter also whacked Henny's girlfriend, who was sitting in the car with Henny at the time. Henk had just saved himself 1.55 million gulden. But this incident would come back to haunt him. It was starting to look a lot less sunny for Henk. While reigning over his empire with an iron fist, he was becoming a target for Dutch law enforcement. On the 10th of May 1993, Dutch police arrest Henk on suspicion of smuggling thousands of kilos of hash from Morocco. He is sentenced to 5 years in prison and has to repay the government 1.5 million gulden. Yet once again, Henk catches a lucky break. After a year, it became clear that the Dutch police had used unlawful ways of gathering information on Henk. So just like that, he was released once again, but it was clear. Henk's downfall was imminent, and was now one of the most important targets for Dutch law enforcement. Just a year later, he was arrested for the 5th time, this time for arms trade. In fitting fashion, Henk serves a small-time sentence before he is released again. This took a toll on him. He was not the man he once was. Henk was a man with a lot of charisma and style, but his photos after his arrest clearly showed he was exhausted and sad. In 1997, Henk strikes a deal with the Dutch tax authorities. They tried to strip him of all of his wealth. Tax authorities initially wanted him to pay back 20 million gulden, but after a lot of discussion, they agreed to 5 million. Henk immediately paid it in the hopes of getting the Dutch law enforcement off his back for good. Well, it turned out that it was not really the case. However, instead of being after him, Dutch law enforcement actually helped him for once. A big shipment of nearly 200 kilos of marijuana, 50 kilos of coke, and 364 kilos of hash headed for Great Britain is intercepted. Henk denied any involvement, but the chauffeur of the shipment snitched on Henk. The loss of this shipment was enough for someone to order a hit on Henk. In September 1997, Dutch law enforcement arrested an East European group that had the intention to blow up Henk. The then Minister of Justice informed Henk himself about the group and its intentions. Henk was absolutely furious and knew he had to strike back. He allegedly was the one responsible for the explosion that took Deborah Horseman's life on the 1st of July in 1999. After further investigation, it was not Deborah who was the target, it was her boyfriend, Jerry P., the man who was after Henk and asked the East European group to blow him up. This is the man who the Minister of Justice warned Henk for. He returned the favour, yet unfortunately did not manage to take out the intended target, Jerry P. Henk at this point is a tired man. In and out of jail, the stress of the business, and having people plot to take your life, he started to see that becoming the top dog in the hash game was not for him anymore. He hides in Spain with friends and lies low. Still and all, being a criminal was just in his nature. Whenever he heard about a good opportunity, he at least had to listen to it, but if he would look back now, I think he would deeply regret listening to the opportunity given to him by this friend of his. In March 2003, Henk goes to the Bermudas with someone he deemed to be a friend. Once there, they discuss the trafficking of substances used to make ecstasy pills. His friend taped every conversation they had. Why? Because this friend was not actually his friend, he was an undercover agent. Henk walked into a setup with his eyes wide open and got arrested upon request by American authorities. What do you think? Was this due to greed or just an exceptional trap? It could not be inexperience because Henk had been in the game for a long time now. He could have known better. Whatever the reason may be, the Black Cobra found himself on a flight to the United States after his arrest on the 12th of November 2003. The judge sentenced him to serve the maximum sentence for the smuggling of ecstasy pills, which is 20 years in jail and a fine of $1 million. Renowned Dutch crime journalist Peter R. de Vries dove into the case and discovered that there happened a lot of questionable things prior to and during the arrest of the Black Cobra. The methods that were used indicated foul play, and rules were broken to trick Henk and pull him into further the drug deal. However, the chance to beat the American judicial system is significantly small. Henk shared his story in the American prisons with a Dutch crime website. He told about his absolutely crazy jailmates, the feuds between gangs, and the hole, which was the isolation cell. While Henk was serving his 20-year-long jail sentence, the judicial system in the Netherlands was still building a case against him as well. After he finally served his sentence in the States, he was extradited back to the Netherlands in January 2021. Upon arrival in the Netherlands, he was immediately arrested again for a crime he committed in 2001 and still had to serve time for. Police tried to prosecute him for what happened to Henny Chamel and his girlfriend in May 1993. Luckily for the Black Cobra, he might have just caught his last lucky break of his life. He is acquitted of all charges in that case, and he is now finally a free man. Being 72 years of age, will he remain a free man this time around? Most likely. His health has been going downhill for the last 20 years while serving his time in prison. Getting involved in new crimes does not seem likely. This was the story of Henk Rommy, also known as the Black Cobra. As always, please leave your feedback behind in the comment section. Don't forget to like and subscribe, it really helps the channel. See you in the next one.